You've met the person who never asks for respect yet receives it the moment they arrive. They don't audition, they don't beg, and still rooms tilt when they speak. You wonder what invisible mechanism pulls eyes toward them and keeps them there. It isn't wealth. It isn't beauty. It isn't raw intellect. I've seen broke, average-looking, even awkward people hold a group without trying. And I've watched brilliant, polished high achievers get waved aside. The difference is a hidden trait most people never train. Covert gravitas. It's quiet on the surface and strategic underneath. It doesn't perform. It orients. It doesn't demand. It dictates the terms without noise. Covert gravitas is the art of revealing less, noticing more, and acting exactly when impact is highest. It's the control of signal, silence, and scarcity. It's the discipline to be unreadable in the short term and undeniable in the long term. Most people sprint for attention. They leak every emotion, validate every impulse, and explain decisions as if explanation were a currency. You will do the opposite. You will select, compress, and time. You will decide what others can see and what they must work to earn. Not deception. Design. A Florentine strategist once wrote that the fox sees traps and the lion frightens wolves. The modern mistake is trying to roar constantly, confusing volume with power. Covert gravitas makes you the fox and the lion by sequence. First, you observe patterns without becoming a piece on the board. Then when the moment matters, you move with force that looks effortless because you conserved energy, while others performed for applause. Picture two managers in the same meeting. The first floods the room with updates, opinions, and promises. He answers every question the second it lands, grinning as he fills the silence. The second manager listens, asks 3 surgical questions, and takes notes. She withholds her view until the decision window actually opens, then frames the trade-offs in 1 sentence and recommends a path with crisp risks and next steps. 10 minutes later, the group repeats her language. She speaks the least and changes the most. That is covert gravitas in practice. If you've ever felt invisible despite good ideas, this is your playbook. If you've been told to be more confident but hate performative bravado, this is your leverage. Starting now, you'll build a presence that feels like gravity. You will be seen because you change outcomes, not because you chase looks. That means cultivating 3 levers: silence used as a tool, scarcity used as a filter, and structure used as a frame. Each lever is ethical when anchored to clear values and ruthless when deployed without them. Your advantage comes from combining calm with calculation. Here is how it begins. First, stop broadcasting your tells. People try to read you through your pace, your eyes, your filler words, your eagerness to fill gaps. Let them work. Replace instant replies with considered pauses. Replace explanations with results and 1 line of rationale. Replace nervous laughter with breathed silence. Second, become the person who asks the questions that matter. Questions steer attention and expose incentives. 2 well-placed questions can reframe an entire room. Third, manage access. Answer because it's valuable, not because it's available. When your time is costly, your words are pre-weighted. Adopt the stance of a sovereign, not a petitioner. Petitioner energy is reactive. It chases, convinces, and overshares in the hope of being chosen. Sovereign energy chooses. It evaluates quietly, sets terms clearly, and lets outcomes come to it because it already prepared alternatives. Sovereign does not mean aloof. It means optionality. It means you never negotiate from hunger, even when you're hungry, because you manage your exposures and your frame. This is the hidden trait that gives you an unfair edge, an internal governor that regulates disclosure, attention, emotion, and timing, so that your presence compounds and your influence travels without you. People will call it charisma. It's really calibration. People will call it confidence. It's really preparation masked as calm. People will call it dominance. It's really design, and design can be learned. Over the next sections, you will install simple rules that change how people experience you. Without theatrics, without shouting, and without pretending to be someone you aren't. We'll start with observation, reading the field before you move. Then we'll harden your boundaries so scarcity works on your behalf. We'll add strategic silence, show you how to pace responses, and teach you to leave early so your presence stays potent. Finally, we'll make your values visible but your methods unpredictable, so people trust your aim and respect your route. Before we continue, Run this quick scan on yourself today. In your last 3 conversations, did you answer immediately or after a breath? Did you explain decisions point by point? Or did you state the decision, the principle behind it, and move on? Did you share more about yourself than the other person shared about themselves? Did you ask at least 2 questions for every opinion? Did you leave the chat while the energy was high, or after it had faded? These small choices create the aura you envy in others. You don't need better lines. You need better levers. You don't need more noise. You need cleaner signal. You don't need to raise your voice. You need to raise your standard for when and why you speak. Quiet is not the absence of power. Quiet is how power conserves itself between decisive moments. When you learn to treat your attention like gold, your calendar like art, and your words like contracts, people stop testing you and start aligning with you. Stay with me. By the time we're done, you'll know exactly how to project consequence without theatrics, how to harvest information without interrogations, and how to win meetings before they start. You'll carry yourself like someone who already has options, because you will. Now let's switch on the lens that makes everything else possible. Observation is the quiet engine of power. Before you move, map the field. Walk into a room and notice what most people miss. Who sits near the door, who takes center, who keeps a notebook, who checks the clock. Listen to how people breathe between sentences. Fast breathing and rushed words reveal pressure. Measured pauses signal control. Look at hands. Fidgeting telegraphs anxiety. Clasping broadcasts defensiveness. Palms open suggest enrollment. Nothing mystical here. You are building baselines. When you know a person's normal, deviations shout. A sudden surge of detail may be a stall. A casual shrug after a high-stake comment may be masking fear. While others chase their next turn to talk, you collect, tag, and wait. The person who sees the most buys options cheapest and sells them dearest. You can train this quickly. Arrive 2 minutes early and watch without headphones. In a Zoom meeting, scroll the gallery view before the agenda starts. Who smiles at nothing? Who watches themselves more than they watch others? Whose camera creeps toward their face as stakes rise? In Slack or email, note latency patterns. Some answer instantly regardless of complexity. They are ruled by the ping. Some answer in batches with concise bullets. They self-govern. In person, mark the person who summarizes without being asked. Summarizers are accidental leaders because they reduce entropy. You will become one, but not too soon. First, let the noise reveal the map. Then, at the hinge moment, make the map obvious in one sentence that sounds neutral and feels relieving. Here is a simple frame for every interaction. Landscape, leverage, limits. Landscape is what's happening and who is involved. Leverage is where small moves deliver large effects. Limits are the non-negotiables, yours and theirs. Ask questions in that order and people will happily hand you the information that others try to pry loose. What outcome matters most today? What would make this a win even if everything else slips? What timing risks or resource constraints are real versus perceived? You are not interrogating. You are surfacing reality while remaining calm. When you surface reality, you inherit the frame. Once you own the frame, your words move further with less effort. Control of tempo is your second edge. The fastest person rarely wins. The person who changes pace on purpose does. Use a breath to insert a beat between stimulus and response. Count 3 heartbeats, then speak. That single beat does 5 things at once. It signals you are not reactive. It invites the other person to keep talking. It gives you time to select language that guides, not vents. It makes your voice drop half a step, which reads as authority. And it lets silence do work as a wedge that opens truth. People reveal more right after they think they are done. Let them finish twice, then answer once. Now contrast 2 negotiation styles. One floods with reasons, biographies, and forecasts to prove worth. The other sets a clear outcome, names 2 constraints, asks 1 question, and lets the table talk itself into alignment. The first burns credibility by over-explaining. The second builds credibility by selecting. You will speak in clean strokes. State the aim, the principle, the next step. If challenged, clarify the principle, not your biography. If pressed for speed, protect the decision quality, not your ego. When you shrink your footprint and increase your precision, you look like someone who leads even before the title catches up. Machiavelli warned that appearances rule because few look beneath the surface. Read that as an invitation to manage both layers with integrity. Your appearance is the part you control in public. Posture still, gestures minimal, cadence deliberate, wardrobe simple and fitted to the room. Your substance is the part you control in private. Pre-work, scenarios, red teams, alternative routes. When appearance and substance align, your calm scans as earned. People sense that you did the work somewhere they cannot see, so they relax into your leadership. They do not need your backstory. They need your backbone. Practice the 2-sentence summary. After the room spirals through details, you anchor it. First sentence, here is what we know without opinion. Second sentence, here is the decision or next experiment that fits what we know. Delivered calmly, this act reorganizes attention around you without force. It also filters noise because people with weak arguments dislike clarity. They will either improve their claim or self-select out. You will not gloat. You will nod once, write the next step, and move. Presence is not theater. Presence is creating order where there was drift. Build a question ladder you can climb under pressure. Start broad to show you see the whole, then narrow to the hinge. What matters most if we can only have one success? What risk, if removed, unlocks everything else? What constraint is real and which is a story we tell? How will we know within a week if this path is working? Each question earns you information and cements your role as the person who clarifies. Do not rush to solve while the picture is still forming. Clarify first, commit second, communicate third, and only then clock speed. Bake this into your day. Keep a small card that reads notice, name, navigate. Notice without judgment. Name the pattern in plain language. Navigate by timing, not by impulse. In 3 conversations, try the breath beat and the ladder. Journal what changed. Who leaned in, who revealed more, what decisions moved. Observation is not passive. It is patient control. It is how you trade noise for signal and effort for effect. Now that you can read the field, your next lever is access. If you let everyone reach you all the time, your observation gains will evaporate in reactive loops. Boundaries are how you guard your gravity so your presence stays rare and your words stay weighted. The next section, you will install them with elegance, not excuses, and never apologize for boundaries. Access is currency, and you set the exchange rate. If anyone can reach you at any time, your attention becomes a discount bin. Boundaries are not walls. They are filters that keep value concentrated. You are not avoiding people. You are protecting the conditions that make your work and presence excellent. Scarcity used ethically teaches others how to treat your time. It also teaches you to respect your own standards. When you respond by design instead of by reflex, your stock rises. People sense intention. They rise to it or they fall away, and both outcomes serve you. Beautifully, consistently, create an access protocol that feels human and firm. Decide when, where, and how people can reach you. Then communicate it once and live it daily. Default to asynchronous channels for everything non-critical. Batch responses at set windows so requests queue instead of hijacking your focus. Hold office hours for quick consults and train stakeholders to use them. Escalation has a ladder. Message, then email, then call, then walk over. True emergencies are rare. Treat them as such. When you enforce cadence, you reduce drama. People stop testing boundaries you consistently uphold, because reality, not reminders, teaches them. Every time, your boundary language should be simple, neutral, and final. Replace apologies with clarity. Try this. I cannot do Tuesday, but I can deliver a summary by Friday noon. Or this. That request does not fit our priorities. Here are 2 options that would. Short, specific, and calm beats long, sorry, and vague. Do not explain your life story. Explain the constraint and the path. The more words you add, the more permission you invite for debate. Fewer words signal settled decisions. People chase weak doors. Strong doors stand. Speak like a door that closes softly and stays closed. Every day, guard your calendar like a craftsman guards tools. Protect deep work blocks on the same days and times each week, and treat them as immovable. Put buffer before and after high-stakes moments. Cluster meetings by theme so your mind stays in one gear. Say yes to fewer rooms than fully inhabit them. If a meeting lacks an owner, an agenda, or a decision, request those or decline. Your presence is not a courtesy. It is an instrument. Use it where it sings. When you choose rooms intentionally, people feel the difference. You become associated with momentum, not maintenance. Always. Scarcity also applies to your words. If you reply instantly to everything, you train others to think you are always waiting. Build a response arc that balances respect with focus. Acknowledge receipt quickly when necessary. Then answer in batches with substance. For DMs and chat, set expectations. I check twice daily and may move complex items to email. For email, use subject lines that force clarity and ask others to do the same. In meetings, speak once early to mark presence, once at the hinge to steer, and once at the end to close. Leave chatter to hungry performers. Elsewhere, install gentle gatekeepers. Use a simple intake form for new requests, so vague asks become specific. Ask for purpose, outcome, deadline, stakeholders, and what success looks like in one page. If someone will not complete it, the request is not real. Require pre-reads for meetings that need decisions, and decline sessions where the pre-work is missing. Provide 2 templates you use yourself so others feel supported, not blocked. The rule is easy. Raise the quality of inputs to raise the quality of outcomes. You are not hard to reach. You are easy to reach correctly. By clear design, social boundaries matter too. At events, choose depth over volume. Set yourself a limit of 3 meaningful conversations and 1 strategic follow-up. Then leave while your energy is high. Never linger from guilt. Your departure preserves your narrative and your stamina. Learn 3 graceful exit lines. I promised myself a hard stop. This was valuable, and I want to leave while it still feels sharp. I am moving to my next block. Thank you for the exchange. I would love to continue. Can we book 15 on Thursday? Presence feels powerful when it begins and ends on purpose. Always, boundaries do not require edge or attitude. Pair warmth with clarity, and people will respect you more, not less. Thank people for including you, then state your terms. I appreciate the invite. Here is what I can offer within my constraints. Be fair and reciprocal. Honor other people's boundaries as strictly as you honor yours. The fastest way to normalize respect is to model it. If you slip, repair quickly. A boundary broken once invites more tests. A boundary reset with calm firmness closes the loop. Consistency beats intensity. Calm beats drama. Clarity beats volume every single time. Without exception, energy makes boundaries real. You cannot guard time if you burn it on low-value loops. Audit your last week for drains and returns. Replace scrolling with stillness. Replace multitasking with single clear blocks. Replace late-night wandering with a protected wind down. Build small routines that reset your state. A walk without your phone. A glass of water before calls. A breath timer before replies. Say no to keep yes meaningful. A no is not rejection. It is a promise to protect your real commitments. Optionality grows when you defend it. Sovereign people earn sovereign choices through steady practice. When boundaries and access align, people experience you as rare and reliable. Rare because you do not appear everywhere. Reliable because when you do appear, you deliver. That combination creates quiet leverage. It also reduces resentment because you are not secretly angry at people who borrow your time. You simply price it and schedule it. This is grace with edges. The next lever compounds everything you have built. Strategic silence. You will speak less and say more. You will let quiet work for you while others exhaust themselves. Then you will time your words so they land and last. Beautifully. Silence is not the absence of contribution. It is a contribution that multiplies the value of everything else you say. When you choose not to fill space, you invite truth to walk in. People will confess details, reveal motives, and soften positions simply to quiet the tension you refuse to carry for them. You become the unmoving point in a spinning room. Silence signals you are not threatened and not rushing. It gives your words a longer half-life. It also gives other people ownership of their statements, because you did not interrupt their clarity with your need. Hold still in negotiation. Silence is a lever. You present a clean offer, then you wait. The first person to rescue the moment usually pays. In interviews, silence after an answer draws the real answer out from behind the practiced one. In sales, silence after price lets the buyer surface constraints you can solve. Your rule is simple. Make your point once, then let silence do the heavy lifting. Breathe, soften your eyes, and hold your frame. You are not punishing. You are inviting. People say more when they feel safe and seen. Silence, delivered calmly, manufactures both. Trust the quiet rhythm. Strategic silence is different from awkward quiet. Awkward quiet darts its eyes, fidgets, and begs to be ended. Strategic silence breathes evenly, rests the hands, and keeps a soft, steady gaze. Your body carries the meaning while your mouth rests. Tilt your head slightly when you want more detail. Nod once when someone hits a truth. Keep your shoulders heavy and your feet planted. Release your jaw so your voice drops when you enter. Practice in low-stakes moments. Ask a question, then count 3 breaths before speaking. The first responses you get will surprise you. More than once, silence is a spotlight. It puts a frame around what you choose to say next, raising its perceived value before you even speak. If you rush, you sell your words at a discount. If you wait, you pre-sell them at a premium. This works in writing too. Short emails with white space travel further than dense essays. One sentence can carry a project if the timing is right. Try the 1-breath rule for replies. Read the message, breathe once, then decide if it needs a response at all. Often the best reply is no reply. Let silence finish. Use silence to cool conflict without surrendering ground. When someone fires an insult, do not defend your biography. Let the words hang. Look at them, breathe, and let the room notice who brought heat and who held center. After the wave passes, ask one clarifying question that returns everyone to the issue. In feedback, say your observation, stop, and let the receiver process. People cannot hear while they are bracing. Space lets their guard relax so your point can land. The rhythm is simple: name, pause, propose. The pause is the hinge that makes the name and proposal work. Together. In hostile Q&A, silence is your shield. When someone asks a loaded question, do not sprint into their frame. Pause, look at the person kindly, then answer the question you wish had been asked. The pause breaks the trap because it proves you are not a puppet of their tempo. In interviews, pause after a success story and let the interviewer lean in. In performance reviews, pause before naming a number and state the principle first. Silence lets your values lead. Count 5 in your head when stakes rise. Quiet is the clutch that keeps you from stalling. In social moments, silence shapes story. The best storytellers vary pace and hold a beat before the reveal. They let the room lean forward and make the payoff land in the space. Comedians call it timing. Leaders call it presence. Both are versions of the same craft. You are teaching people how to feel by how you hold a pause. If you rush, you flatten meaning. If you linger just enough, you create gravity. Learn to savor the beat before a key line, the breath after a bold claim, and the quiet exit that leaves people wanting one more chapter. Digital silence has texture too. On chat, do not obey the typing indicator like a siren. If the topic is complex, stop. Move it to a channel with room and answer once with clarity. Short lines and line breaks create breathable space that mimics calm. In email, remove reactive phrases that beg reply, like thoughts or just checking. End with a clear ask and a clear deadline. Then let silence hold the boundary for you. If you must nudge, wait longer than your nerves prefer. Your patience trains the system to route work to you properly, with clarity and consequence. There are pitfalls. Silence without warmth reads as coldness. Silence without eye contact reads as withdrawal. Silence stretched too long reads as contempt. Pair quiet with presence so people feel held, not ignored. A relaxed face and a gentle nod keep the channel open while you wait. Calibrate across cultures and personalities. Some groups speak over one another as a form of affection. Others use long gaps to think. Learn the local rhythm before you reshape it. Your aim is not dominance through discomfort. Your aim is respect through composure. Silence plus warmth equals authority that people welcome. Over time, silence is the amplifier for every other lever you are building. Observation becomes sharper because gaps invite disclosure. Boundaries become sturdier because quiet holds lines without extra words. Scarcity becomes elegant because you do not announce it. You embody it. People begin to pre-edit before they bring you noise, because they know you will not chase it. Your reputation shifts from talker to tuner, from reactor to regulator. Now we add the counterpoint to silence. Precise language. The fewer words you use, the more each must carry. In the next section you will speak in blades, not clouds. Clean words are tools, not confetti. When you speak in blades, people stop rummaging through your sentences looking for the point. The point arrives first and cuts cleanly. Precision is not stiffness. It is mercy for listeners and leverage for you. You remove friction, waste, and ambiguity, so outcomes move with less pushing. Most people spray language because they are buying time or selling insecurity. You will do neither. You will design your speech the way an engineer designs load-bearing parts. Simple, strong, and exact. Start by trimming hedges that make you sound uncertain. Replace I think, I feel, and maybe with I recommend, I conclude, and given X, we will do Y. Swap kind of, sort of, and a little with clear, measurable terms. Remove just, actually, and honestly, unless you mean their literal content. Delete filler like as you know for what it is worth, and to be honest, and every hedge steals force. Every filler leaks status. Cool heads speak in commitments and conditions, not apologies and performances. Use the 3-beat frame for high-stakes moments. Sentence 1 states the aim in concrete terms. Sentence 2 shares the principle guiding your choice so people trust your compass. Sentence 3 names the next step and a check date. Example: our aim is to reduce churn by 5 points this quarter. The principle is fix root causes before promotions. Next step, ship the onboarding rewrite by Friday, and review early indicators in 7 days. That cadence is calm, transferable, and hard to argue with because it organizes reality. Favor muscular nouns and verbs. Weak language leans on adjectives and adverbs to compensate. Instead of very important, say decisive. Instead of really needed, say required. Instead of quickly, say by 3 p.m. Numbers beat notions. Deadlines beat vibes. Specifics beat mood. When you name a metric, define its source. When you commit to time, include time zone. When you say soon, you owe a date. The more you anchor your words to observable reality, the more your words create reality. Frame disagreement without drama. Replace you are wrong with the constraint you are missing is X. Replace that will not work with that works if Y and Y is absent, so we need Z. Replace emotional rebuttals with conditional logic. If the risk is headcount, then the option with the smallest operational burden wins. If the constraint is regulation, then the path with the cleanest audit trail wins. You do not win by performing louder. You win by showing the map and walking first. Cut claims into proof. When you make a statement, attach a receipt. Instead of morale is low, say engagement dropped 9 points in the last pulse. Instead of customers love it, say NPS moved from 41 to 56 after the tutorial. Instead of we are behind, say our critical path task is 8 days late and blocks 3 teams. Facts do not shout, they anchor. People stop resisting when reality is specific. Evidence quiets egos without a fight. Write like you speak when you are calm. Short lines, plain words, and declarative endings beat winding paragraphs that hedge every bet. Punctuation is pacing. Periods create confidence. Commas create clauses. Use them to carry nuance, not to hoard everything in one breath. Dashes signal a hinge. Use them to add a revelation, not to stall. Question marks create pull. Use them to invite ownership. Exclamation points are spice. Rarely needed. The calmest sentence wins because it travels farthest without tipping over. Build a personal lexicon that encodes your values. Pick 10 phrases you repeat until people can finish them for you. Here are examples you can adapt. We decide on principle, then path. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Evidence before urgency. Options before opinions. Small experiments before big bets. Say yes, then shape scope. If it is not on the calendar, it is not real. Clear writing, clear thinking, clear execution. These lines become handles for others to grab when things shake. Handle praise and criticism with the same sentence structure so you stay centered. Thank you, then a boundary, then a next step. For praise, thank you. The team did the heavy lifting. Next step is scale the process. For criticism, thank you for naming it. The constraint is time. Next step is reduce scope and ship by Friday. This pattern absorbs heat, protects dignity, and moves the work. People will test you with emotion. You answer with structure. Do not confuse brevity with bluntness. You can be concise and kind, soft edges with firm centers. Use names. Mirror a piece of what you heard before you pivot. I hear the urgency. The missing piece is risk exposure. I see the effort. The issue is direction. I value the ambition. The lever is sequence. Kindness earns you the right to be direct. Directness reduces confusion and resentment. Combine both and you become the person everyone can work with under pressure. Finally, keep your values predictable and your methods flexible. People should know what you stand for without knowing your next move. The value is honesty. The method is selective disclosure. The value is impact. The method is timing. The value is respect. The method is scarcity. Say what you will always do and vary how you do it. Predictable values create trust. Variable methods create intrigue. Together, they create presence that feels inevitable. Next, you will learn to modulate temperature so unpredictability serves, not spooks. Temperature is the art of pacing response, tone, and access to keep attention alert without creating anxiety. Sometimes you answer in minutes to reward clarity. Sometimes you wait a day to reward thoroughness. Sometimes you give a precise no. Sometimes you say yes and shape. Sometimes you step in as the lion. Often you watch as the fox. You are not random. You are rhythmic. Rhythm builds reliability while keeping edge. In the next section, we will engineer this rhythm so your unpredictability feels like competence, not chaos. Calm on cue.